gosh, it's so
Yes.
cute.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. We are live. I'm here with my friend Hannah. We're at our creator house today. We're going to talk about all things about making content to get you hired. Hannah makes amazing content on like LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram about how we can get hired. She also does a lot of TikTok live streams. Really amazing. She's so cracked at TikTok live. So thank you all for joining us today. Before we get started, love to know as we wait for people to trickle in where everyone is in the world, where y'all based, and how are you doing, Hannah?
I'm doing great. First of all, thanks for having me. This is super exciting. I do a lot of TikTok lives, but this is actually my first time going live on LinkedIn. So this is really exciting. And of course, the topic is LinkedIn. And so I think I have a lot of really cool things to share as well. I'm sure you do as well. And I think we'll have a lot of good. Get your pen and paper, right? Take some notes because I think this will be a very valuable session. But I've been really good. It's a rainy day here in Los Angeles, so it's kind of fun to just stay inside, get some work done, be productive.
Yeah, we're all based in Los Angeles. By the way, there is like a 30-second delay between what we see here and the comments, so
Okay.
they might be trickling a bit slower. I'm just gonna double check my Instagram to see if it's live. This is my first time like live streaming on Instagram actually. I'm using this tool called StreamYard, and I just need to make sure. Oh, we are live. Sorry, technical. I think we're live. Create live
Our
video.
special guest.
Oh, we also have a special guest, a cat. Cool. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Ricardo. Hi, Aeneas. Sorry for pronouncing your name wrong. Hi, Isabel. Hi.
Phoenix.
Hi, Andrew. Hi. I'm so sorry I'm butchering everyone's name. Abduluz from Seattle. Hi, Andrew. We met at Adobe events. Texas. We have Florida, Phoenix.
All
Um,
around the world.
yeah,
Just
Houston,
the US for
OC,
sure.
NYC, Charlotte,
India. Wow.
LA, India. Oh my God, India. Wow. Wait, thank you for I know it's like 3 a.m. your time, so I appreciate y'all for staying up so late to join us. So we're San Francisco, Phoenix, SF,
Bay
StreamYard is
Area
great.
represent. Love to
California.
see it.
I love that. Cool. But yeah, let's get right into our topic. I think on Instagram it's so I think we're having some technical issues like streaming to Instagram, which is fine.
It's okay.
Which is like totally fine. I don't know if this is gonna go live or not.
I think it's okay.
I think it's fine because
Yeah.
most of our audience is here on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Oh my God, no!
All right.
Sorry, I just got a text message. I'm so sorry for pronouncing his name. But yeah, let's get right into it. Feel free to comment where you're all based. But yeah, let's get started. So Hannah, how did you get into content creation? What are some of the main lessons you learned along the way? And yeah.
Yeah, for me personally, I mean, I went through a very interesting college experience. So I took I say non-traditional route. Good thing it's being normalized now, but I went to community college and then transferred into UC Berkeley, graduated from there. And I originally actually started creating content to help me land my first job. It was my dream to work in the beauty industry. And so I started making makeup videos on TikTok specifically. And I didn't have very many followers, but I really wanted to showcase to beauty brands that I had the skills and the interest in the industry and in the craft itself too to land a job. And it actually did. I landed my first job at Anastasia Beverly Hills post grad. Did that for about a year. And then I realized that beauty is still my passion. I love to do my makeup, but there's more to me and my story than that I wanted to showcase online. And so slowly on TikTok, I was posting college content. So how I went through community college, what courses that I took, what extracurriculars that I put on my application to get into Berkeley. And that resonated with a lot of people. And so when it came to LinkedIn, I mean, I was always kind of on LinkedIn. I always had an account, but it was very intimidating for me personally to start posting. So I started off with just posting job updates and, graduation or school updates and things like that. And it was only more recently that I started leveraging it to tell more stories about my journey. And those have been resonating really well. And so that's kind of what got me into content. Since then, I've now dedicated a lot more time, almost full time, to doing content creation. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I don't know if you want to also share how you got into content too, but I know it's a very valuable tool, especially on LinkedIn right now. The job market is very rocky and it's very uncertain, but there are ways to leverage LinkedIn to still break through a lot of that and get those opportunities coming to you instead of relying on those cold applications to get you in the door somewhere.
Yeah, definitely agreed. It's like I feel like in this day and age, it's not about how good you are. You have to be good and make yourself known that you're actually good. Otherwise, I won't forget you. If you're not posting on social media, I won't forget you. I'm also curious how to know, learn about everyone here. What are your current career goals and what is your experience with content creation? Are you afraid of? I know we got some questions submitted saying that people are like are afraid to post. They're like scared that their boss will see, which is valid concern as well. My boss saw, which is okay. It's okay. Yeah, well, let's learn about everyone's like goals and where you are at in your content creation journey. And I'm also really honored that Ahmed, Egypt, Pakistan, Tennessee, India, we have like all like time zones. So I just like I appreciate y'all. If it's like 3 a.m. or like some crazy time, it means a lot to us for you to be here today. Um, London, wow, Europe, wow, we have like all the continents, man. We have Africa. Next, we need like Oceania. This is like so dope.
And Elizabeth said, just joined the Discord the other day, and I love everyone I've met so far. So that's awesome.
Yay! I'm so awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. TLDR, how I got into content is I've been making content for 10 years. I grew up in the city called Cupertino, California. We're actually both from like San Jose,
The
Cupertino.
weather app.
The Weatherhouse City, yes, Cupertino. And I don't know, like I just felt like I didn't really fit in at school, and I was like a nerdy kid who liked running, anime. So I just started like documenting my journey, like running like on Tumblr, and I got like 10K followers in a year by just like telling stories on Tumblr. And then Tumblr kind of died, pivoted over to Instagram, and like when I went to college, TLDR is like I actually studied like bioengineering, computer science engineering, because I thought I wanted to like do that stuff, but I stopped making content for like all of college, and I picked it back up again in 2020 around when I graduated college because I wanted a job. Actually, I was just like, I need job, please, job me, I need job. And so like I wanted to work in tech. I wanted to work as a UX designer, and I know in tech it's a lot about who you know and not necessarily your skill. You could be like the best designer, but no one knows you who you are. No one ain't gonna hire you, you know? So I started posting about like my journey learning design on LinkedIn and starting this community called Design Buddies, which has almost 100,000 members on Discord to this day. Thank you. And that blew up. So I have like 53K on LinkedIn now. Thanks to all of y'all. So shout out to y'all for being here today. And I actually got my first job. I used to be a UX designer at EA Electronic Arts. And what I did was like I reached out to people like hiring managers on LinkedIn and asked them about like how they got to where they're today, just having like coffee chats to learn about them, and they're learning about me too. And I'm just like, I need internship, or like my goal is to get an internship, please. And that's how I got hired, basically. But we can dive into more of that. But I wanted to also learn from Hannah about since Hannah also like she applies to jobs often to really understand how the job market's at. I haven't interviewed a job in over 5 years. So Hannah has the latest up-to-date information I want to share.
Yes, I agree with everything that you said. I do think you hit a really important point too of like you can have all the skills in the world, but if people don't have a way to find you and your skills, you're not really going to get recognized. And I think that's what the power of LinkedIn is, we utilize platforms like TikTok, like Instagram, all these social media platforms to post our work. Sometimes our digital portfolios are on some of these social media accounts, but LinkedIn is really the place that people are going to connect, to network, to bring their opportunities, to hire for opportunities. And so I do think it's really important. I know we're going to dive into this a lot deeper in the coming, next 50 minutes or so that we have. And we're going to have a lot of questions that you guys have asked as well that we're going to answer. If you have additional questions as we're chatting along, please drop them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them all.
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about first?
Yeah, let's just see, like, for people hesitating, like, what are some examples of posts people can make, like, on LinkedIn if they want to stand out in the job market?
That's a good question. My main audience as well is like students and recent grads too. So I work a lot with people that don't have a ton of experience. If you have more experience or portfolio of past work, it can be a little bit easier. But what I would say is for everybody, things like job announcements, right? You get a new job or you have a new client or you worked on a really cool project. Talk about that. If there's a story that's really compelling for you, for example, I actually just posted something the other day on LinkedIn, just as a test, just to see if it would resonate about how I went to community college and a lot of people would tell me to remove my community college experience from my resume and my LinkedIn because people would only care about the UC Berkeley experience. And while that might be true, I think that the community college aspect of my journey is one of the most important things that have crafted me into the person I am today. And I'm not embarrassed by that. And so I'm really actually proud by that. I'm fine putting it on my resume and something that I kind of feel is that if a company or somebody doesn't want to hire me because of a certain experience that I've had in the past, like community college, then I'll let them pick someone else that they prefer. But I really want someone that values my background and experience. So I posted that on LinkedIn. The point is that it went pretty viral actually. It has almost, I think, over 2,000 likes now. It's reached, I think, over 160, almost 200,000 members. I've had some past posts in the past as well do really well. And it's an easy way just to put yourself out there. It might feel intimidating, but I've gotten over 400 new connections and followers from that. And I posted stuff in the past, a video on LinkedIn of me going to LinkedIn headquarters, and it got me 2,000 new followers and connections in about a week. And so it really is an underrated area of content creation, I think, that not a lot of people talk about.
What was the video you posted?
Oh, so I actually so I do career content creation. So I help students navigate college and careers and prepare for the future of work. And everything is really changing right now. And so I've established a strong personal brand on LinkedIn and other platforms as well. The LinkedIn team actually found me on LinkedIn. Just by having like a complete profile. I had certain keywords on my profile that allowed my profile to get searched, when they were searching for Bay Area based career and tech creators. And they invited me and a small other group of creators to their LinkedIn headquarters to talk to us about a new feature. This was last year in October, and it was about their video feed. And so if you guys have been on LinkedIn, you've seen the video feed. It's a lot like the Reels feed. You can swipe and watch a bunch of videos, and these are really like career and professional focused videos. So they're telling us about that feature and encouraging us to actually post our own content. And so just for fun, I was like, you know what? I just want to post a little recap of me going to the LinkedIn headquarters, what my experience was like, what I learned. And that video took off as well. I think it's reached over 1 million members. It got me over 2,000 new followers and connections. And I actually got dozens of messages from recruiters, from startups, just with opportunities to do freelance work, to interview for full-time gigs. So it really does actually work. Networking and being, I would say like working in public is a great way to get opportunities coming your way without actually having to apply to them, which is crazy. There's a huge market out there. A lot of us in the job market right now who are actively job searching, we're all competing for the same jobs, but a lot of people don't realize there's a whole nother layer of jobs that aren't being posted online, that are being filled by networking, by, people finding our work online, going to networking events and talking to people. That's actually how I get a lot of my, freelance gigs and current jobs today.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There's like a hidden job market that's not on there. There's a lot of nice chatter.
Yeah,
Thank
really good.
yeah.
Nice
So
to know.
we also recorded some of the questions you submitted. Hi Ivan. My field is UX design. 4:34 a.m. 100% website and blog.
Let's answer that question there.
Which one? The
Aisha.
Usha.
Thank you for a session. Field is UX design. And in terms of content creation, I don't know how much I can use content creation in that field. You want to speak on that? I think that's right up your alley for sure.
So UX design and so okay, take my experience with the grain of salt, because I haven't applied for a job in 5 years, but back during COVID, it's still a very popular field, and I think UX design is all about being able to present your work and articulate it and explain how you solve problems, not just how it looks, but explain how you solve problems, and like all these soft skills, how people can like figure out, like the interviewer needs to know like how well you work with the team, how interpersonal, how knowledgeable you are. And so I feel like making content is a great way to explain, like for example, you have like a case study, or go to a design event, you design this like project at a hackathon. You can talk about what was the problem you solved, what iterations did you try, how do you know that was the right solution. So you can like explain like your thought process, which is the most important thing, I think, on LinkedIn, and leverage your LinkedIn to do that.
I agree with that. And I would say there's two parts. I think you can do both of these on LinkedIn, even in a single post. But what I usually recommend is, one, I think the biggest thing for companies, so if your main goal is to get hired and you want to use LinkedIn as and LinkedIn content creation, specifically posting on your feed as a way to bring in opportunities, one, it's showcasing how you can add value, and then two, being able to showcase that you really know what you're doing, right? And so to Grace's point, right, no matter what your field is, if it's UI UX design, if it's marketing, if it's finance, right, to be able to showcase your thought process, maybe pull data to show that you do your research on this topic, being able to showcase that you, obviously have this skill set to do the job, but then also showcasing any past work or current work even, and showcasing how that actually has been able to create actual results and real impact. So if there are, and this actually applies too for your LinkedIn profile. So outside of content creation, our main things, right, are our LinkedIn profile and our resumes when we're applying to jobs. And I would argue the most important aspect of these materials is going to be the bullet points that are on, say, our resume. And when we think about our bullet points, we really want to focus on how we've been able to create impact. Because think about it, companies want somebody that can come in and actually produce results, because to them that means that you can make them money, right? Every company, most of their main goals is to make money. And so if you can showcase how you've been able to successfully do that for people or companies in the past, you're going to be a very valuable asset over someone else that maybe can't communicate that properly. So I would leverage LinkedIn to work in public. If you are someone in a more creative field and you do design work, showcase past projects. If you don't have any experience yet and you're trying to break into a field that is especially creative, do like mock projects, like passion projects. Find a company that's one of your favorite companies, dream companies to work for, and redesign their website or their app or whatever workflow that is interesting to you, and publish that online and tag them. And that is actually how I know a lot of people get really cool opportunities coming their way.
That's actually what I did. I redesigned a feature on Discord, and that got me a job at EA because it's a gaming industry adjacent. And I also was talking to Discord recruiters back in the day when I was wanting a job. So yeah, you don't need permission to do design. There's always, just because you don't have a job yet, it's not an excuse to not find opportunities. There's opportunities everywhere. There's like hackathons. There's like, you can volunteer for nonprofits. There's a bunch of startups, like for freelancers, a lot of stuff in the Discord too. Yeah.
And skills are also becoming a lot more valuable to companies over just your college degree or whatever certifications that you might have. And so the deeper and more niche that you can get, right? We're kind of also moving away from this desire to have generalists. We want companies want people that are very niche in their skills, and are leveraging, up-to-date tools like AI features and AI tools and stuff like that too. So if that's relevant to your career field, I highly recommend starting to look up maybe online courses, certifications, or just find out, come up with your own project, work on it to showcase on your resume that you have certain skills that you're starting to see in these job descriptions. I work in marketing and social media marketing. It changes all the time on top of my content creation. So that's what I do as my outside of content creation. But even for marketing, it's constantly changing. And so it's very important to leverage, obviously, connections, networking events, and things like that. But things like projects, not everybody can, obviously execute the same project that you might be able to do. And so it's an easy way to kind of build that experience for your resume if you don't have a lot, and then also be able to showcase that you have like a unique stance or perspective on your work.
Yeah, and creating content increases your surface area of luck for people to reach out to you. It's like more inbound is way more powerful than outbound. So the more you show up online, the more people will reach out to you. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Jeff says Design Buddies Discord is a great environment. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you. Yeah, Nicole went to school at Lynbrook. I also went to Lynbrook High School. Shout out Lynbrook, SAT land. It was an interesting school. Everyone Lynbrook is like a crazy school. Like the more you're popular when you get good grades. Basically, it's like the opposite of all of America. Vancouver journey with some autism prospect. So Pretty asks, if we take a break from content creation, it's daunting to go back since everybody probably evolved and people are valuing giving attention to things that weren't important when the person left content.
I think it's, obviously, if you take a gap from content, there's always going to be things that have changed. There's no rush to come back. And even if it's just every so often you're posting something, whether it's LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, it doesn't have to be all the time. I mean, consistency is what's going to produce probably the best result, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. Don't let that stop you from kind of getting back into the game and putting yourself out there more. It's just about maybe setting aside some time to do research regularly.
Yeah, don't let that stop you. Like, you can take breaks and come back. It's fine. Life happens. Like, don't let that stop you. Elizabeth says, I want to start posting more. Nerve-wracking at first. Being in VC and Discord has helped me get comfortable design. I'm starting to post more on TikTok and Insta. I meditate Brandon yesterday. Super fun. I'm so glad our VC is popping. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being part of our community.
Posting on LinkedIn is scary. I agree. And that's actually something that I brought up to the LinkedIn team when I was, at their headquarters talking with their team about the video content specifically. And an interesting statistic actually is if you've been contemplating, should I post on LinkedIn? I mean, other platforms have their own metrics and things like that, but LinkedIn specifically, there's over 1.1 billion members on LinkedIn. Okay. I think it's about 260 million of them are active monthly users, and less than about 1% of them post weekly. So the competition is not oversaturated at all, even if it feels like it is. Usually when I go on LinkedIn on my feed, I'm seeing the same people over and over and over. When I post things, sometimes some of them flop, but a lot of times they also take off and they produce a lot of really great results for me. So if you think about it from a sense of, is this worth it? Yes. Is it scary? Of course. But I think just being careful in the things that you're talking about, staying true to your own personal brand, and thinking of, okay, what do you want people to remember you for, right? Obviously you're a designer, right? Entrepreneur, content creator, we're marketers, we're, investment bankers, and whatever our titles are at work. But we do a lot more than that outside of work. We add a lot more value in our lives. For me, a big message and a big part of my personal brand is I want to be known as somebody that helps people. You could remember me as the girl that does social media. You can remember me as the girl that does content creation. But at the end of the day, in all of my different areas of work, I do my best to help as many people as I can. So that's a big thing that I think about when I'm trying to craft what my LinkedIn profile says and what I want to post is I want to draw it back to those main core messages around my personal brand. That way I can start to, over time, kind of prompt people to think about those things when they think about me. And that's really what personal branding is. And I think that's that's the best part of LinkedIn is it's the place to build at least your professional brand. And that can obviously feed into your other social media platforms as well. But that is an important thing. So although it is scary, putting yourself out there, there's more rewards, I think, than drawbacks. Once you start putting yourself out there, we all have done it, right? We're living in a house with 15 other creatives, creators, entrepreneurs, and all of us are either in the process or have recently gotten out of that process of feeling cringe, feeling scared. But like I said, just staying true to yourself. And as long as you're not posting anything that's like super controversial, most of the time it's going to be received very well.
Yeah, most of them are nice. I would say like 99.99% of people are actually nice, especially on LinkedIn if you're scared of that. Because I feel like a lot of content creators, they are scared of putting content to get like hate comments. And what I have to say is like, I feel like people who comment hate comments are sad. They need love in their life. They have no one to love them. They're like probably like a failure in life in their mom's basement, and that they feel the need to put other people down in order to rise up. So don't let that stop you, because that stops a lot of people. But haters are also your unpaid marketing interns. Like they boost up your post and algorithm for free. They're taking time out the day. So I'm honestly flattered. But yeah, don't let that scare you. As long as you're not like, also like when you present your work on LinkedIn, make sure like you're not violating any NDAs. So sometimes just like make sure, sometimes like metrics or like stats or competitors are like NDAs. So make sure just like check with your manager. And like if you get scared of your manager finding out that you're posting on LinkedIn, maybe they think you're gonna leave. A good manager will support your career. They don't care where you work. They want to support you in your growth, in your like design or marketing or career journey. So don't let that stop you. Like if your manager's like insecure about that, then they're probably not the best manager.
I
Yeah.
would just be careful too in general. Like one thing that I do is I try not to post about my current role as I'm working in it, right? And even if there's and in general, like I don't try to sugarcoat things online, but I try to just keep it relevant to the stories that I want to tell about myself and my growth. And so I think when we're thinking about content creation, we can think about it as something that you learn. I learned this thing doing this project, and here's how I'm going to apply it, right? That's a framework that you can use in anything, a freelance gig, a full-time job, a project that you worked on, sharing your work publicly. I mean, there's a lot of different categories of content. So don't feel like, if you post on LinkedIn, it has to be talking about a recent thing that happened at work. Like sometimes that can get you in a little bit of trouble. But I think there are a lot of stories, like I said, like my community college journey, although I'm long graduated at this point, it's still so important to who I am today and why I do the things that I do and why I create content, that those stories are able to be said regularly. We can recycle content, right? Something that I posted 4 years ago, I can repost the same story today in case there's people out there that haven't met me yet and aren't familiar with my story. So I think that is an important thing to think about when we're discussing LinkedIn in general, but honestly, content anywhere. Any content, we're seeing it, right? Content anywhere can be risky. If you're talking negatively or representing your company negatively, it can have drawbacks. So that is the reality of content creation, but there is a way to do it gracefully that can actually boost your career and a lot faster.
I agree. Just don't talk badly about anyone in general in life. It's not good to gossip.
We have a
Uh,
lot of comments here.
yeah,
I'll
there's
make
so
that a
many
little
comments.
scroll down a little more.
But there's one about the hidden roles. So, Hannah, you mentioned the hidden role earlier. Ricardo asked, "What's the best way to approach employees at companies you work for and uncover these hidden roles that haven't been posted yet?"
That is a great
Yeah.
question. And it makes me think. So the reason why I brought this up is because I think it was last year. I was living in LA and I went to LA Tech Week. So Tech Week, it's by A16Z, usually hosted by A16Z. They have one in SF, New York, and LA. And so I had gone to the LA one. This was my first time going to Tech Week, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I just recently left one of my last 9 to 5 job. I was trying to pursue content. I didn't really have like a strong pitch or anything like that. I didn't have a startup, but I decided to just put myself out there and just network with people. And so I would go up to people and I pitch myself. I'm a content creator. I'm helping students get career ready. This is the X, Y, and Z that I'm doing. My background's in social media marketing. I do freelance work, and just by hearing that, as long as you can pitch yourself confidently, they will actually be like, hey, you know what? Actually, my startup is looking for someone that can help with some content creation, or I actually know someone that works at this company that's been talking to me that they're going to open up this role. Even stuff like applying to roles that you want can actually end up being an opportunity for you to work in a different role. I applied to a job at an ed tech company that I worked at a little while back, and it was for a social media role, and I didn't end up getting it. They hired someone so much better than me, so I love her to death. And they said, well, we actually really liked your interview. We liked your interview. We liked the project that you did. I did a little project for them. And we actually have this role that we haven't publicly put out there yet, and we're going to, but we were wondering if you wanted to be considered for that role as well. And so I didn't even have to apply to that, but I still got considered for it. I ended up getting that role as well. And so things just like networking over time, I think is really important. A lot of the times when we network, especially those in our younger or earlier days of our career, a lot of the feedback that I see online, I also get this feedback too, because it can be valuable, but it's ask somebody for a coffee chat and then you'll get a referral from them. But that's very transactional. And I think the people that are most willing to give you a referral, if you think about referrals from a core standpoint, referrals are somebody basically vouching for you and your skill set to their company so that they would consider you to be hired for that position. And if they don't know anything about you and it's just one, kind of brief coffee chat and it wasn't very valuable or in depth, that might not even produce a referral. When it comes to networking, it's a long game. You'll meet someone today at a networking event that you might not ask for something from for 3-4 years. But that's why it's important to get everybody's LinkedIn contact information, post your work publicly so people understand what skills you bring to the table and how you'd be able to add value if they were to contact you about an opportunity. I think that's really the main thing. Like long game for networking, and then just being public. Like there has been I was able to go to LinkedIn headquarters because I post online. And you don't have to be a content creator, right? You don't have to have 100,000 followers, you know what I mean, to kind of get noticed. It's really about putting your story out there, and because not very many people are doing it. Just told you the statistic of how many people actually post on LinkedIn. And so the chances of you having reach and getting noticed by people is amazing. And if you think about this too, a lot of people don't think about posting on LinkedIn from this standpoint. If you and I are connected on LinkedIn, or Grace, you have more followers than me on LinkedIn, but like I have say 5,000 followers LinkedIn. If me and you are connected and you post something that I like or enjoy and I want to support your content and I like your content, it goes to all of my followers on their feeds. And for each person that likes it, it does the same thing. And so if you really want to get noticed by people in the professional world in a spot or like on a platform where people are going there to do professional activities, LinkedIn's the place to do it. So
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like when it comes to networking, I think of it as like making a new friend and just figuring, like learning about what each other do and how you can help out with each other and going in without any expectations of getting a job. It happens organically. Like, for example, shout out to Marlon here. When I actually like outreach to 400 different hiring managers. I use LinkedIn search and, I searched for like design director, senior manager, VP of design, head of design, design manager, and I filtered by like company and location. And I messaged all of the people at companies I want to work at. Did this 400 times. I was like, "Hi, I'm Grace. I'm a student studying computer science. Trying to pivot to a career in UX and product design. Would love to learn about how you got to where you are today." And then when they accepted, I asked them if they're down for like a 15-minute coffee chat, and because people love talking about themselves. I'll like ask them about their career, start with that, asking them like lessons they've learned because I want to learn from them. And then they reciprocate and ask me, oh, what are my goals? Oh, my goal, I want to grab my first job. Yeah. And that's how Marlon got me a job. Marlon, shout out to Marlon's amazing. Like a UX design intern job at EA, which was actually like one of my dream companies because I grew up playing a lot of video games. So I ended up working there for almost 4 years as a UX designer. And yeah, so Marlon was amazing and like mentoring me along the way. And then I left a year and a half ago, not because EA was bad, EA was amazing. Just to because I've been like side quest maxing, so yeah. But I wouldn't be where I am today without that experience. But just going in with the intention of just like asking a lot of questions, and then you can talk about. I try not to talk about myself first because I want to make it about them. But then people will reciprocate and be nice. And oftentimes, like I'll meet so many nice people. I'm still connected with a lot of them to this day. Like they either help me like review my portfolio, help me like make intros. I would help them like make referrals too. Like actually I end up helping a lot of them get referrals to EA, like these design leaders, like afterwards. So it's like it's all just because like you're a student or like a junior designer doesn't mean you are less valuable or less of a designer than someone who might have more years of experience. We're all humans trying our best at the end of the day. So don't let that stop you.
Yeah, that brings up a good point as well. While you're searching for the next question too, you had a good point of search. Okay, and I want to talk about this because I know LinkedIn just released a new search feature that'll be relevant to people on both sides of the spectrum here, whether you're job searching or going to be job searching, or you're somebody who's hiring or going to be hiring. Traditionally, right, and I use search a lot. Traditionally on LinkedIn, you search up a keyword, let's just say EA, and you want to find someone that works at that company and then this location, and you kind of have to use the filters to find the exact thing that you're looking for, and then you still probably have to scroll a little bit to find the right choices to pick from. But LinkedIn actually just released a new AI search feature. So the search bar, and I think they're rolling this out still, so you might not have access to it. But a lot of my content creator friends have also been posting about it too. It'll basically say, let's just say I want to find somebody that works at EA that could maybe give me a referral. It'll go, find me someone at EA who would be the best person at EA to, do a coffee chat with so that I could land this role as X, Y, and Z that they're hiring for. You could use it that way, and it'll actually scan obviously the information from your profile and understand who you are and what skills that you have, and then recommend people based on their profiles that have similar skills to you. And so once that feature rolls out, a couple things. One, I think all of us can benefit from using that to find even better people if we are searching for people to network with, do coffee chats with, whatever. And then two, from like a hiring perspective, if you're looking to get hired, that'll force us to start looking at our own profiles. If they're not already complete, I'm telling you guys, it is one of the most valuable assets right now because your LinkedIn profile is your online resume plus more. There's more options, there's more word count. You can fit a lot more into your profile. I have a lot of really interesting statistics around things that you can do on your profile to achieve better results. But with that new AI search feature, it's going to be very important to have a complete profile. And if we're planning to post on LinkedIn, that's going to bring people to our page. Once they get there, they need to have enough context about who you are and how you add value and the experiences that you've had in the past to understand whether or not you're a person that's appropriate for them to connect with or come to for, with an opportunity that they might have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excited to check out the AI search. I haven't used it yet. It haven't rolled to me yet. But I'm curious about the algorithm. I know the algorithm is always changing. I think engagement is down for everyone this week, but like, what are your thoughts on I feel like LinkedIn, the algorithm, the LinkedIn team told me this. I didn't sign any NDA. I think it's fine. I'm just saying a high level, but they're basically experimenting a lot with content creation right now. And they're rolling out, I remember back in the day, LinkedIn had stories. They had voice chat. They had LinkedIn audio room. They have a bunch of like LinkedIn, like those like AI articles and stuff. I would say like the posts that get the most engagement in the algorithm are like the new features they launched because they always want to prioritize people doing that. And LinkedIn, I think their algorithms like rebalancing. Like we've been seeing posts from like 3 weeks ago because I think their algorithm is trying to serve you content that's like most relevant to you. But yeah, I think like posting like with the time, usually like on the workday is when I try to aim for, but I try not to like hold myself too hard against posting at the same time of day because I post every day, like 5 days a week, but I write my posts right before usually, or if it's a sponsored one, the night before, or like a week before. It just depends on the review. But just try to post at least like during the workday and just focus on posting. Don't care about the time unless it's like 3 a.m. Probably not. But yeah, what are your thoughts on like keeping up with the algorithm changes?
I would say for me, and I've learned this by, post. I'm a lot newer to posting regularly on LinkedIn than I am like TikTok, for example. I've been on TikTok for, I think just around 4 years, maybe more. And I learned from my TikTok that I'm not somebody that can stay consistent in posting time, right? And so when I think about posting, I think as long as I just get something out, I'll be proud of myself. And that's really what it ends up being. And sometimes it's the post that I do last minute, right at the end of the day, that I post, and they end up doing the best. And so when it comes to LinkedIn, I would say try to post, once a week, right? If you're just starting out, once a week, once every 2 weeks. Ideally, algorithms in general across social media, they prefer people that are consistent. So if that's once a week, but you're staying consistent every week in doing that, or if it's 3 times a week and every week you're consistent in doing that, it'll end up favoring you over time, most likely, and showing your content a lot more to your own followers. But if you're struggling to get that content out on time, or maybe you're someone like me, I like to work really late at night. So by the time I finish my post, I might not have time to post it. LinkedIn has a scheduling feature. So I highly recommend. I know someone in the house here. She batch creates her content and schedules them out for the next like 2 weeks. You can do that too. And so just finding what schedule works for you. And it can be short posts. They don't have to be crazy. We see a lot of these like AI generated, like ChatGPT generated, the same kind of structure on LinkedIn, but you don't have to follow that same voice. You don't have to follow the same format. Just post stuff that feels authentic to you, and on topics that you're really passionate about. Because if you have a niche area of knowledge or skill, talk about it. People want to learn from you. And so if there is things that people can learn from you about, or if there's articles that you find interesting that you share online and give a little bit of your thoughts around, so that you're bringing that information to other people, they're more likely to follow you, to think about you, and see you as a thought leader. That's really the ultimate goal of being, present on LinkedIn is.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of posting consistency, LinkedIn kind of values that. I would recommend me starting out posting once a week, but how do you create, and you also post on TikTok and Instagram pretty often too. Like, how do you create a system, post consistently, and how do you generate some of your post ideas?
That's a great question. I'll be honest, I'm not the most consistent, but it still works out for me because I've just stayed consistent over a longer period of time. And so there are times where I got into a car accident over the summer. So there was about 2 months where I had a concussion and I really needed to give my brain a break. And so I wasn't posting, and I wasn't really online, and I was limiting my screen time. But still, when I came back and I started posting consistently again, the algorithm started to remember who I was and my content, and they started favoring me over time. So sometimes it can take a little while to obviously establish where you're at on the algorithm. But in terms of being consistent, just do the best that you can. I like to just post, and I've tried the whole batch creating content. I'm someone that just likes to create and produce when I have the idea. Or I'll write it down and try to reserve a day out of the week to create that content. But yeah, for me personally, I will admit I'm not very consistent, and I think that that's okay. The ultimate goal is being as consistent as possible. If you want to get prioritized by the algorithm, but I'm not very consistent and it still works out. So if you kind of needed that sign of like, hey, I'm not ready to post every single week. I'm not ready to post 3 times a week. That's fine. Sometimes I only post once a month, and I'm not even actually as active on LinkedIn as some of the other people, that we live with in the house, or as Grace here. And so I always look up to them too for, motivation and inspiration. So.
Oh, thank you. I think 2 posts for you right now, all y'all listening in the chat, is to write what you learned on this live stream. Like make a recap post about what you've learned so far and what you've about to learn in the next 20, 30, 20 minutes or so, and tag both of us. We'll like and engage with you in the post, and also make another post like introducing yourself to the world if you haven't
Yes.
posted yet. People will love to know about you, who you're looking to connect with, what are some goals and your backgrounds.
I
Yeah.
always say if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Yeah.
And so, I do a lot of live streams on TikTok. I do resume reviews and LinkedIn reviews for free on TikTok live, and I'm actually doing one tonight, at Hannah Shirley. If you guys are on TikTok, I'll be doing some live LinkedIn reviews, so it's actually a perfect day for that. I'm around 4 p.m. or maybe a little bit later because we end around 4, so maybe at like 5 or 6 p.m. But either way, a lot of the things that I talk about too is having call to actions, right? We're constantly scrolling, whether that's LinkedIn feed, whether that's profiles, Instagram, email, text messages. It gets overwhelming. And so a lot of us are scrolling on autopilot. I find myself doing that a lot. My screen time is probably 10 hours a day. It's insane. I need to cut back on that. But even think about like Instagram stories. We're just tapping through, and sometimes we're not even registering what we're watching or reading as we're doing that. And so when it comes to posting, any platform, LinkedIn especially, but even on our profiles, right? That about section on our LinkedIn profile, think of that as the tell me about yourself question in an interview, right? So we don't want to start off that section saying, I'm a results driven X, Y, and Z with 8+ years of experience, because everybody starts it off that way. That's the way that we're taught to do that. The way to stand out is to go and tell your story, give a little bit of your background. What are your credentials? Do you have work experience? If not, what steps are you taking in school or outside of school to get career ready in your field? And then having that CTA at the bottom that says, call to action at the bottom, that says, hey, if my skills and experience align with a role that your team is currently hiring for, I'd love to hear from you. Let's connect. Super direct, super simple. But you never know when something like that is going to actually prompt the person to actually reach out. You know, like I said, if you don't ask, you might not get.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Yeah. I see some comments on people wanting to connect with each other. Feel free to like add everyone here in the LinkedIn Live saying y'all came from our live. We're all here to help everyone make these wonderful connections and also connect with Hannah and me as well.
Yeah,
we're not connected
network
already.
with each other, network with us. We're obviously all here to learn and, you know, kind of share tips. And there's things that we also learn from you guys as well, which is super exciting. And so always a safe place to network and just make friends too.
Yeah. So writing articles, this newsletter feature, any thoughts on long form content? Should we write on LinkedIn, direct people something like a Substack, like long form content?
That's a question. Do you have a Substack?
I do actually have a Design Buddy Substack.
Okay, well, why don't you talk about it?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is also have a newsletter. I have a so your first newsletter is your most important one because when you first make a newsletter, new newsletter on LinkedIn, it gets your whole network gets a notification that you posted on your first one. So make that first one really good. I personally am trying to like experiment. So I have like 2 newsletters. One's for Design Buddies, one's called Grace Pace on Beehive. I'm A/B testing 2 different platforms. That is why. And I just kind of post the same thing because like on LinkedIn newsletter, I recommend having like an email newsletter because you don't actually own your audience on LinkedIn. Yeah, because like the algorithm always changes, and sometimes you put a lot of effort in your post, it doesn't get seen by a lot of people, and it's sad. I get sad, at least I do. I need some social validation. I'm human. I need social validation. Yes. So I just like post the same thing on email and LinkedIn on a newsletter. Design Buddies, Substack. We don't have a LinkedIn newsletter. Maybe we should. I just kind of like dive deeper. We have like guest writers too. We just like try to dive deeper into something that goes past the character limit. It's like where you actually like learn something like really meaty. Like I feel like LinkedIn is also like I think there's like 300 character limit. There's you can go more in depth in a newsletter. And like
I think your point of owning your audience, right? If you rely on LinkedIn, and there's no harm in it. Like utilize those features too, because they might be pushing out or prioritizing newsletters in the future, and then like yours gets pushed out because you know you're utilizing that. But I think when you have your say newsletter or like long form content on diverse platforms, it helps you be able to adapt when things might go wrong with one, right? Like with TikTok's my primary platform that I post on, and with all the like you know changes around TikTok, is it going to get banned, is it not? Like I was scared for a little while of like, okay, do I have to now build my audience from scratch on other platforms? And it was from then on that I realized putting all your eggs in one basket isn't great. And so I'm planning to launch a newsletter as well for Thrive Space, and so I plan to do it also on Beehive, so they should have sponsored this.
Yeah, I mean I use Substack too just because I've had it since 2021, okay, and I just like didn't migrate. I'm curious, like for social media algorithms, how do you keep up? And I'm also curious to learn about more of your experience on TikTok. How did you grow on TikTok? What kind of content resonates well on TikTok? What is your strategy to like hosting live streams on TikTok since you're really good at that?
Oh, thank you. For me, when I think about posting anything anywhere, I think I always make sure that it adds value, and we've said the term adding value a lot of times throughout this live, but some of the key metrics that determine whether or not your posts do well is like obviously number of likes, saves, shares, watch time is a big one. So when I'm thinking about being successful on TikTok or like short form video in general, I try to keep it shorter. I try not to do like more than 1 or 2 minute, 30-second to a minute long videos. But I always think about every piece of content should add value, meaning it should either teach somebody something, entertain them, make them think about something or reflect on something of their own, cause cause them to ask questions. Maybe it's slightly controversial. In my opinion, community college is a controversial topic in the education space. It's becoming more normalized because there's people out there, and I'm trying to do a really good job at this, like advocating for that as a path, but it's still very taboo of a topic. And so if you're brave enough to talk about certain things that maybe other people aren't talking about, it doesn't have to be a negative topic, but just spark that thought and conversation. The engagement that you get on your post is going to be a lot greater, and thus your post is going to do a lot better. When it comes to TikTok, I try to do a balance of some trendy videos, but then having a lot of videos that, because this is going to be the case on LinkedIn too, but having some videos that are trendy to bring in those views and hopefully achieve virality so people visit my profile. But then once they get to my profile, they're not probably going to follow me for the trendy stuff. They're going to want to follow me for the things that actually create, teach them something, or, leave them with information that they didn't know before. And so my platform is very focused on relaying information, sharing my experiences, so that way you can save those posts and come back to it later. LinkedIn is the same kind of way, right? You're posting stuff. There are things that will go viral. There are posts that you're going to post just to nurture your audience. Not everything should always be focused on getting new people to come, but once new people come, how are you going to nurture that community of people in your network, so that way your relationships with them are strong enough that you could tap them when you need something from them, hence a network, right? And so that's the thing that I think about across any platform that I'm posting on. Each platform, though, serves a different goal. So for me, TikTok is to get in front of the people, students, young professionals specifically, but really anybody that's looking to advance their career and grow professionally, and share obviously tips, advice, my stories, and things like that, and build a community there. On LinkedIn, I'm using that to also talk to students as well, but I have a lot of people in higher education. I have a lot of people across all the big names in tech. So sharing different things about my journey to spark change there. I'm going to be introducing a lot more stuff for ThriveSpace. That's my we have a Discord channel right now that we just recently launched, and so we do a lot of fun stuff in there, conversations, give feedback. And so when it comes to TikTok Live, I format TikTok Live as like my another freebie, right? A lot of my content's free, because I know that especially for students and young professionals, money shouldn't be an issue to access good information. And so that's why I started posting a few years ago. TikTok Lives are for me to really kind of give that one-on-one feedback in a free setting on TikTok where everybody's already at. And it's very engaging. And so that's also a big driver for my community building as well. I get a good amount of followers doing live streams, and it brings more people into the community. So long answer to your question, but that's kind of how I think about it.
Nice. Yeah, you're really good at TikTok lives. I should get into that too. LinkedIn lives.
Should, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many great questions we submitted. Do you have a hard stop, or are you flexible to go?
I'm pretty flexible.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go a little over.
Cool. I just want to make sure there's a lot of great questions submitted, but some questions are kind of similar, so I'm trying to like lump them together. So Rex asks, the kind of content changes in contrast to the goal, job versus freelance gigs. What do you think are the key changes we should keep in mind for the right kind of content depending on what kind of goal we have?
Is that in terms of like having multiple goals at once?
Yeah,
Maybe?
like I guess like for example, someone wanted like a full-time marketing job versus like a freelance marketing job.
Well, because I've done both, right? And I've also balanced both at the same time. And what I will say is like trying to think about it in that sense. Like, yes, creating content for different goals it's gonna look a little different. But in terms of like full-time versus freelance, I think it's actually pretty similar. Rather than focusing on trying to target those opportunities, show your skills and those opportunities will come to you. So if you are in marketing, for example, start posting your marketing content online, and opportunities with startups, freelance gigs, one-time projects, full-time offers, these opportunities will come to you. So I don't think maybe if you wanted to be a designer and also like an investment banker, there's two completely different things going on there, and that you might have different types of posts depending on those niches. But I wouldn't worry as much about the freelance versus full-time thing. I think those will come naturally. I post and I'm public about all of my content, my social media stuff on LinkedIn, and I get contract opportunities in my inbox. I get full-time opportunity interviews in my inbox. And so, I don't have to post specifically for each type of gig, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Just post your knowledge and the right opportunities will come to you.
Exactly, yeah.
I would love to learn more about ThriveSpace. Like, can you share about ThriveSpace? Like the Discord, what happens in there? How can people
Yes, so we're still in our early stages. Think of ThriveSpace kind of like how Design Buddies is. It's a community. It's a career prep community for ambitious students and young professionals. So what we aim to do is, I mean, we have a Discord that we just launched. Again, very early stages here, so we have a lot in the pipeline. But right now we're starting off with a Discord, and that's really going to be a place where, like I said, ambitious students. Like we really want students that are ambitious, that are self-starters, that want to grow and help each other without that competition. So it's a safe place to ask questions, to get feedback on your LinkedIn, your profile, your resume, your portfolio, and things like that. But also just get connected to other opportunities. So I posted this event, for example, in our Discord. I published my LinkedIn lives, and I give Discord members for ThriveSpace, priority submissions for our TikTok and resume review sessions on TikTok Live. And so that's really growing at this point, but I want to do a lot more events. I want to obviously partner with brands to give special discounts and stuff to our students, and then also do some in real life events as well. And then I also, like, there's tons of stuff. We're going to be doing some case competitions. We're going to be doing guided passion projects, boot camps, a lot of really, really fun stuff. And so I'm excited for it. We're still in the building stage, but right now we're doing Discord. If you guys are on Instagram, TikTok, obviously TikTok, join the TikTok live later, but the links are in my bio as well to join the Discord.
Yeah, they're also on our Luma
Yes,
event page.
it is.
Yes, you
Yes.
should hop on in. There's some great questions in here. So this is like more for people kind of like us. It's like, so Karen asks, do you have advice to how to get over feeling awkward about selling your services? I can design social posts for other people, but I have a hard time doing it for myself. Like selling your services.
That's a good question. I think in terms of social media, it gets a little difficult because people think, oh, if you don't have a social media presence, then you can't do social media for a brand, which is so not true. A lot of times us that work in marketing and social, especially, or design is probably another good one too, where we do so much for other people that we end up not having time to do our own. I think in terms of being awkward and feeling that, like, those intense feelings around, like, hey, pay me for this thing, pay me for my skill set. It's really just about being confident. Selling is a skill that I have a lot to learn in that area as well. And I'm planning to actually take some courses online to learn selling, just because I notice with myself too, I start to, rather than focusing on the value that it gives and experience that it provides, I focus on my skills that I'm giving. And so there is kind of a way to sell without being too salesy. And I think once we master that, then it's going to feel a lot less awkward. You're confident in your skills, you're confident in how much they cost, you're confident in your ability to achieve results. And maybe it takes some time working in the industry. If you don't already have experience, for example, it can take a few years at least to like build up your portfolio so that you feel confident going, hey, this is what I can provide. Here's some past work. Pay me what I'm worth for this thing. So that's what my take is probably on that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think selling is just like kind of like helping someone out, like, for example, someone wanted like a whole brand identity redesign. It's like a value exchange. Like they value my time. It takes time. I need to pay rent. I need to pay my like food to live. So it's like not a taboo topic because you should be paid for the work you do.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, Rex asks, when you talk about email newsletter to collect emails to begin with, what kind of lead magnet would you say is a good lead magnet to do?
That's a really good question. I give out a free resume template. I'm constantly talking about resumes. I do the resume review live stream. It's the resume template that I use to get all of my jobs since college. The best business schools in the world teach us to use this resume template. And so it's something that you can't find necessarily anywhere else, but if you need somewhere to download it, like it's in my bio. And so that has generated me almost 2,500 emails from my newsletter that I have yet to launch, which is really exciting. So I kind of have this going into it, but that is something too. I mean, if you're trying to collect emails, you can give out free things. I think a freebie is always a good lead magnet. You can also do events, right? Stuff like this, where you can advertise your services or showcase, your skills or, I don't know. That's what I would say.
Yeah, free stuff, events. Yeah, it's a lead magnet. I'm curious, like I know this question was submitted and no one has asked it yet, but I want to talk about buzzword incoming AI. So it says, how do you like use AI tools to help you pump out more content?
That's a tricky one because I think with written content, for me personally, I've tried using AI tools to help out with, TikTok content ideation and stuff like that. I'm not sure that it's quite at a point yet, or it'll take a lot of, a lot of conversation with the AI tools for it to really understand me, just because they can't. I wish I could just put my link into my TikTok and it'll scan every single video and really understand who I am over the last 4 years. But for me personally, I think AI comes better into play for me when I'm posting on, say, LinkedIn, or I'm writing captions for my content where I want them to be SEO driven. I want them to be able to come up in search results if somebody is searching for topics that are relevant to the thing that I'm writing about. So I usually use it in that sense. I do think that content creation will not be able to be fully automated with AI, just because everybody's so different and our stories are so unique that we need to make sure we're still staying true to ourselves and our own voice. I notice when I'm even using, I do, brand collaborations and stuff. And when I'm using it to help me write scripts for that, it just feels so by the book. It feels like what everybody else is saying. And so I think the best case scenario for me is using that for the, obviously, AI tools for the writing content. I use ChatGPT a lot. But I also sometimes will help obviously refine scripts or even generate certain ideas around topics, just depending on, if I don't have like a good way to structure my video. I think it helps a lot with that too. But the creative aspect of content creation, I don't feel like it is super helpful for me personally. But I'd be curious from a design standpoint, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think anyone should copy and paste from AI. I think it's slop. And it's just like, I feel like content creation is a way for you, writing is a way for you to think critically about your thoughts. And it's like a practice for you. Even like talking to a camera, doing lives. You can't replace, I feel like the process of content creation, you improve in so many of your soft skills that is very useful on your job. You get critical thinking, you get presentation, doing live streams, helping present my work really confidently at work. So don't use AI to automate, but use it as like, I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to sound like every other panel here, but I use Claude Code. So like basically I downloaded my entire LinkedIn history. A tool I'm mentioning is Claude Code. I downloaded my entire. You can download all your data on LinkedIn, including like all of your posts and all the stats and stuff. I put it into Claude Code and be like, what viral post can I make today? And Claude Code will give me some
Interesting.
ideas. So download all your data. You can also do this on Instagram and TikTok. You can request to download all your data, your posts, your stats, and put it into Claude Code, and it'll tell you um, what kind of topics to write. And like I just like take those topics and I just like write more. I also use this tool called, not sponsored, Whisperflow. So it helped me do like voice to text on my computer. So I just like yap into random ideas um into my computer and helping me content. And also like for example, I'll talk to Claude. I feel like Claude is better for writing, like creative writing, and ChatGPT is really good for like and like critical thinking, coming up with like ideas. But the actual like kind of like also Claude is pretty good at coming with ideas too. I would ask Claude or ChatGPT. I'm testing out both right now, so I think both are equally good. I have the $20 a month plan for both, so it costs like $40 a month. And I just ask it like, you are a LinkedIn expert, or like you are like a content creator. What kind of topics do we want to see? Like, ask me questions to help me understand myself to help write content for me. And it'll ask me a lot of questions, and I'll use Whisperflow. I'm like too lazy to type out everything. I'll just like yap into it, and it will help me like craft post ideas based on like the stories I tell, and I yap to it too.
I want to say something really quick on that too, because I know, I mean, all of us are here to talk about LinkedIn, and not all of us want to be content creators, and I think we both get that, right? But at the same time, LinkedIn is more than just content, right? It's our profiles are one of the biggest, most important things on LinkedIn, and that made me think, because I actually do this a lot. There's a way actually to download, and you don't need an external tool just to download at least your own profile. And if you go on your profile, and it's not going to show on here because I'm like on my own account, you might have to do this from a different browser where you're not logged into your own LinkedIn. But if you go on your account, you go to these three dots right here, and usually it says download profile. So what you can do with that is it'll download all the information. So obviously make sure everything's filled out. You have a headline, you have bullet points on all of your experiences, like make sure everything, all of your past experiences, education, extracurriculars if you have them, all of that is already on your profile. Download your profile. It'll say like resume, but it'll be a PDF of all the information on there. And then if you're struggling to figure out how to optimize your own profile with keywords in your headline, or your about section is huge, you can have like ChatGPT or any other AI tool analyze that. So attach it into ChatGPT and ask it to give you feedback on your profile, things like posts, right? Like, hey, take my story and my background, come up with some posts that I might be able to post on LinkedIn. But I use that a lot for profile optimization, especially that about yourself section is huge on LinkedIn as well. So that just made me think of that,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Another quick resource, not sponsored to say this anyway. There's two tools called Taplio and Clio. They're both kind of similar but different. I think the free plan on Taplio, you get like a Chrome extension that scrapes LinkedIn for the best performing posts, and like you can take inspiration from the hooks like Taplio, Taplio, to see like the best performing posts of that, and just use that as inspiration.
And none of this is sponsored, but I wish.
Yeah, none of it is sponsored. But if you're Clio, Taplio, we love you. Please sponsor us. Yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Yes, connect with everybody here. Feel free to shoot us a connection request too. Like this is all a safe place to network always.
Yeah, I agree. Wait, the other question about Thrive Space. So Preeti asked, is Thrive Space free for students? Hannah mentioned connecting students with discounts. How would that work?
Yes, great question. So right now, Thrive Space is starting off just as a Discord channel. I'm also going to be releasing a newsletter as well, hopefully by the end of this year. So I'm working on that. And those are completely free. So you can join the Discord for free. Link is in my bio. The link is also in the description for the event today as well. So you guys can access that. The free resume template and all that kind of stuff is going to also be logged in there. So anytime that I do create a lot of guides and stuff that I give out on some of my social media posts. I'll also be logging all of those in there as well. And then as the community grows, I have a lot of startups that are looking for people and interns to help out with project work or internships. I want to connect, obviously, all of the students and young professionals, which is opportunities, right? And even things like passion projects. We talked about this earlier, right? Right now, it's so hard in the job market. If you're job searching, right? The job market is very hard to land anything. You could even be overqualified and you're getting rejected. And so we're leaning a lot on these project-based experiences to fill up our resume and LinkedIn profiles. So what I'm planning to do, and I did a lot of projects myself to help me land one of my first jobs in beauty marketing, I want to do guided passion projects. And so corralling people, like if you're into marketing, we'll corral a group of 5 to 10 people or whoever's interested, and we'll have regular check-ins and like build something together or individually that we can, have something to show at the end of the stretch. Those will also be free as well. And so I'm trying to put some systems in place. There will be some paid services and activities and fun things to do. But right now everything is free. So yes, feel free to utilize those as we're just kind of getting started out.
Awesome. Yeah. Christopher is hosting a job. Oh, we met.
Job fair.
Job fair. Yeah, message
Hey,
him with a link. Himani, I'm already part of Design Buddies Discord. Oh, thanks for being part of Design Buddies Discord. Hi, Grace. Just want to thank you and your team for doing portfolio reviews on your Discord. Help me get a new position? What? I'm so glad to hear that. I wish this is letting me display who it is, but please send me a message on like LinkedIn or Discord. Would love to hear about how is that experience for you, because we're trying to like help improve our portfolio reviews on Discord to make it really helpful for you. And also like honestly, like, shout out to like Tim, Nate, and Katie, because they're the ones leading portfolio reviews. So appreciate y'all. This is so beautiful. I love that. So the LinkedIn user, I wish they show the names here. Tip while researching clients and companies, use Payback Machine. I think this is Wayback Machine to see what their websites look like in the past. You can even look on LinkedIn to see what companies they worked at previously and check the work they did years ago at that company.
Interesting. Ooh. That's a good tip.
Yeah. Haven't really tackled in. Hi, Cody.
Yeah, tackled AI content creation because Yeah, I think it can strip away a little bit of the authenticity using AI for content creation, but that's why, like, for me personally, I like to use it for the like longer form content, just to like polish up my writing sometimes without any M dashes, as we know, it's like our biggest op.
Yeah, you can tell ChatGPT to don't put any M dashes for you.
It works now?
Yeah.
I think it does work now.
Oh, hi, Cody. We hung out in Singapore like years ago. We went to the zoo, the bird park. That was a fun time. How do you tackle AI slop while getting content ideas from AI when you're not completely reliant? It's like a struggle mostly around getting content ideas to post, so ideation's a struggle. I know kind of topics were covered, but finding specific ideas to actually write, and you said there's a lot of AI slop out there.
Yes. That's a good question. You want to tackle that?
Yeah, I kind of use this as like an ideation tool. I would never encourage anyone to copy and paste because you lose your ability to like think and write for yourself. A lot of LinkedIn is AI slop, and unfortunately what I've noticed, the algorithm today, it might change tomorrow, prioritizes like this format called LinkedIn Broetry, which is like LinkedIn Broetry. Kind of like writing and just like one sentence space like gap, one sentence. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about? Yeah,
yeah.
LinkedIn poetry. That like is giving like AI slot to me. I would just like try to make my writing like not. I'll just write like a human. I'll just like kind of yap to it. Leave my writing mistakes, my grammar mistakes in it. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I think when you use ChatGPT enough, or any AI tool, but specifically I use ChatGPT, but I notice the responses that it gives me, and then I notice when people online are using that same structure, and it's not just the M dashes, it's like, and what it like, and what it taught me, question mark, like it taught me this, and this is what I realized, and it has a very specific tone to it and structure, and so the more you use it, the more you kind of understand where things need to be changed. Especially, I definitely don't recommend copying and pasting, but in terms of ideation, I think it's really important just to understand like what are your core kind of niches, and then asking, hey, what are some really in-depth topics that I can talk about, or if you can research SEO and kind of give the AI a little context into what's being searched in case it can't pull that information and do the research for you. You'll be able to work with it. I think coming up with content ideas is a skill that over time, as we create more content, it actually becomes a lot easier. For me, I categorize content into things like day in the life, vlog, text on screen with B-roll. I have like POV, right? Different trends. And so I'm able to visualize the different content buckets and then pick which bucket I want to create content in, and then just pick the topic from there. And it's usually a lot easier to kind of push out content when you have that structure in place.
I agree, and I just feel like AI is used for like analyze. You can like download your data and put into Cloud Code and tell you about what did well, what didn't do well. Could kind of give you like critical feedback as like a thought partner. And my hot take, I don't know if it's a hot take anymore. It's kind of hot take. Like if you're outsourcing your writing to ChatGPT, then your critical thinking skills are going to be cooked. Yeah.
I have noticed as I start to use more AI that my skills are regressing. So I've been trying to challenge myself to not rely as much on it.
Yeah, I mean I love chat. Like don't get me wrong. I use chat all the time to help me like write emails to negotiate higher rates for brand deals all the time. And it's really good for especially like writing emails and having hard conversations. Like let's just say you have a hard day at work. Your boss treated you really poorly, but you don't want to ruin your reputation at the company. So just like talk it out to ChatGPT and it'll help me give solutions for that. So
Yeah.
that's what I think chat is for. Um,
Let's do our last few
yeah,
questions
let's do it.
here.
I guess like what is the biggest mistake you've seen creators post on
Like
LinkedIn?
anywhere?
Yeah, like for example, is like talking bad things about your company as like a
Yeah,
mistake.
definitely don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a balance between being authentic and also professional.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways to communicate things that maybe have frustrated you, right? Like for example, I keep going back to my community college post for this because I received such love on that post. But I also see where if I made some small changes, it could have also gone really bad. Where community college is a topic that there's people on both sides. They're either for it or they're against it or they're pretty neutral. People have mixed opinions on it. And so I could have approached it by saying, everybody told me to, and you guys can check out the post too. It's one of my most recent posts, but it starts off by saying, like, everybody told me to hide it. That was my hook. And then I go into how people think that UC Berkeley would be the most, say, like, impressive experience on my resume. So I should pretty much just leave off the community college. I could have approached that by saying, oh, well, if people have problems with me going to community college, like, I have a problem with you. Like I could have came at it from a place of anger or frustration, but what I know is that from my experience, I understand that people that disagree with it, most of the time, they've never experienced it. They don't know what community college is like and how valuable it can be. They just have predetermined, like there's stereotypes around it that society has placed on it, and I get that. And so for me, I came rather than a place of emotion. I try not to like lead with emotion. I try to lead with, I would say like logic, but like just like information. I really want to teach people something, right? My whole thing is my personal brand is about helping people. So I want to help people understand that community college isn't something to be ashamed of if that is something that you went through, and that community college is something that you can be proud of and you don't have to feel weird or embarrassed by that. And so that's the approach that I took in telling the story. And I did have a little line in there talking about how if a company doesn't want to hire me because of my background in community college for something like that, then they can hire somebody else, and that's totally okay with me. I'd rather have somebody that values my background and experiences. And so I think when it comes, but I do see a lot of people that come online and they lead with that emotion and it ends up being taken very negatively. And then it has obviously repercussions with your career or with your connections or your audience if you've built an audience. So that's something that I would just pay attention to is, be true to yourself and your story, but really think about how you phrase and word certain topics and what result you're trying to achieve from the post, right?
Yeah. We're gonna take two more questions. One is this one, and then like any other discussion, like things that you haven't gotten a chance to mention yet today. Yeah. Yeah. So how do you structure your post? Do you talk about one thing in multiple posts? For example, I'm doing a 5-day challenge. How do you post about? Like, how do you like go about? You mentioned like the hook, like curiosity gap, but like, how do you go about like structuring it?
On LinkedIn or in general? Looks like this is
Like,
in general. I would say like always starting off with hook. There's some basic things with any piece of content, written or video, and it's going to be short form video. I think long form video is a completely different beast, and so I'm not necessarily the best person to speak on that since I focus on short form. But for any sort of short form piece of content or like LinkedIn posts or things like that, start off with a good hook. Obviously, you want to draw people in. There's so much content out there. How are you going to capture that attention? It's going to be that first like 1 second. Sometimes it's even less than that for video. So you really want to grab that attention first. From there, you want to structure it in a way that maybe doesn't reveal the information until the end. So that way people will watch to the end. That's a big indicator to TikTok or to any video-based platform that somebody's interested in your content is the watch time. So you want to increase that watch time and you want to end with some sort of CTA ideally. It doesn't have to be super scripted or anything like follow me or anything like that, but having some sort of CTA. But when it comes to actually structuring my posts and whether or not I talk about one thing or multiple things in my post, people are, and think about this, all of us, most of us here probably are on TikTok or have been on TikTok at some point. Short form content is everywhere, even outside of TikTok. Our attention spans are very short. Okay. And so if it only takes half of a second for us to determine whether or not we want to watch an entire video, it's going to need to take a lot more convincing throughout the rest of the video to capture the attention for the entire amount of time. So when it comes to that, I would recommend keeping it as short and sweet and having like one core message per video. But I struggle with that too. I have a lot to say. I love talking. And so sometimes I want to help by giving as much information as possible packed into one tiny little video. And then I realize people don't even watch to the end because it's too overwhelming. So breaking it down, if you can break it out into multiple videos, now your five-day series or challenge is 5 completely different posts, and that's now 5 posts that you can post instead of 1. So TikTok will reward you for, or any platform will reward you for having more content that you're posting consistently.
Yeah, people love series on like TikTok and Instagram.
Yes.
Series are popping off right now. Yeah. Before we wrap, is there anything you want to talk about today that you didn't get a chance to talk about yet?
I would say there's a couple of statistics that I actually have from working. I did a collaboration post with LinkedIn recently, and it was on their open to work banner and how that can be. I know it's like some people love and hate the open to work banner. There actually is data on their end that showcases that they actually will match your profile to certain opportunities if you have that. So although people think that it's cringe or desperate, it's really not. In my personal opinion, I think you should utilize it. But I want to pull them up here because they're very interesting. We talk a lot about content creation, but as we talked about earlier, posting on LinkedIn is one thing. Once you get attention on a LinkedIn post, what's going to happen is they're going to come onto your profile. And if your profile has missing information, you don't have a profile photo and some basic things like that, and it's not clear why it's beneficial for them to connect with you, or what value that you can add to them, then it's probably not going to present you a lot of opportunities that you're hoping for. So LinkedIn profile optimization, and this is what I talk about in my LinkedIn lives. Again, I'm going to do one a little after this call. So if you guys are, on TikTok, stop by, submit your LinkedIn profiles, join the Discord. That's where the link is going to be, and you can submit a few minutes early. But the LinkedIn profile optimization is one of the biggest ways that I'm able to get opportunities because I attract through my posts and then I nurture through my profile, and it really communicates how I add value for me. It works for me. And so a few statistics I want to provide. If you add a profile photo on your LinkedIn, you can receive up to 3 times more connection requests in general. Okay, basic, right? Think about starting from scratch. If you have more than these things, then that's great. If you add 5 or more skills to your skills section, you're up to 5.6 times more likely to get your profile reviewed by recruiters. if you've job searched on LinkedIn on the job board, you know that it'll do that AI matching. Hey, you have 6 out of the 10 skills required for this role, or you're like a low or high match to this position. Here's some other things you can add to your profile to enhance that and make you a more, fitting candidate for that. So add some skills to your profile that are relevant. Don't do like all of the soft skills like the communication, the teamwork. Get niche. If you're in social media marketing, you might know how to do user generated content. You might have creator management if you work in influencer marketing. If there's a tool that you know how to use, like if you're a designer, you know how to use Figma. That's a hard skill. So the hard skills and the niche areas of industry knowledge are going to be some of the best skills to put in that skill section to help you stand out and also match you with certain jobs that are looking for those niche skills. So doing that, and then listing more than one position, right? A lot of us have at least one position, even extracurriculars, but listing at least more than one position on our profile, you're up to 26 more times more likely to receive recruiter in mail just by having more than one position. So now if you add up all of those things together, your chances of at least getting noticed on your LinkedIn profile is so high. And then if you add obviously more positions and your work and you're posting content online, you're going to be able to maximize your presence online and get those opportunities more than everybody else who's not doing all those things. So that's something that I wanted to just kind of quickly mention, just because those statistics were mind-blowing to me, that even just adding more than one position makes you up to 26 times more likely to receive recruiter in mail. So anyone that's job searching right now, keep these things in mind. LinkedIn has single-handedly given me so many opportunities that I wasn't able, outside of content creation. I've gotten inbound messages to interview at Meta, to interview at a lot of other big tech companies, Hot Pocket, like some random companies as well, but name brand. I don't apply to any of these. A lot of them are remote positions. So like, if you have the right information on your profile and you're posting and making it clear who you are and that you understand what you want for the next part of your career. For example, students, right? A lot of us students, we're trying a lot of different things. You know, we might be majoring in business administration, but we have some marketing, some finance, some accounting, and all these different things. And maybe on the side, we like to do art. But try to niche down into like 1 or 2 things that you're really most passionate about and make your profile about that. So it's clear that you have a story and that you know what you want. When you're confident in what you want, it'll bring people to your profile and go, okay, I have this to offer. It's exactly what this person is looking for. I'm going to reach out with this opportunity. So that's my perspective on it. It's what's worked for me. A lot of other people, especially here in this house, a lot of students that I work with are seeing the results from doing things like this. We just got someone a job as a flight attendant too, which is crazy, and especially right now in Canada, which is crazy. Like this stuff works no matter where you're at, and optimization is going to be key no matter what your industry is. So
I agree. Even like add your jobs that not related to your current job, because you probably have a lot of skills that translate over too. So don't be like, own your story. Like don't hide any part of it. All of your experiences helped you get to where you are today. Awesome. Any other last words before? Oh, by the way, I can send the link to Hannah's TikTok for her LinkedIn Live and her Discord, where you can like put your LinkedIn profile for Hannah to give you feedback on your LinkedIn profile live.
That'd be great. Yeah, I hope to see you guys all there. Like I said, I do TikTok lives. I try to do them twice a week. I'll do one resume review session and one LinkedIn review session. So we did our resume review session on Tuesday, and today we're going to be doing LinkedIn sessions. So I hope to see you guys on there. Yes, join the Discord if you want a few minutes early to submit, so you don't have to wait in the queue once we go live. And thank you guys all for joining, and thank you, Grace, for having me. This is my first LinkedIn Live, and so this is very exciting, and it was on obviously a very relevant topic, which is LinkedIn. So obviously I hope you guys took away some really cool pieces of information and took some notes here, and hopefully some of these things you'll find helpful in your journey, whether that's you're currently job searching or if you're on the hiring side of things. Hopefully these things will be helpful in just helping you build your personal brand.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'll send an email to everyone who's subscribed to Luma, who've RSVP'd. But yeah.
Perfect.
For the
All
live.
right, thanks
You're right.
everybody.
Bye,
Have a good rest
everyone.
of your day.